new page in the diary of life has been opened.
Now that both the new year and my birthday are out the way, it's time to look forward to what I want to achieve over the next 12 months. First off, I want to continue to build on all of the positive things from last year. Just to give you a very brief recap: more reading, more crafting, more creativity, more writing, more beaches, more sorting out, more destashing, more walking, more Italiano, more letting go, more kindness, more healing. And that sums it up really. I grew in confidence a lot last year. I had less spending, less eating, less meat, less alcohol, less clothes buying, less selfies, less news, less mind-numbing TV, less radio, less overthinking, less taxes, less swearing, although the odd word does slip out, less compromise, less begging for time of people. And those are the things that I had. I did have less hospital stays than the year before, but still too many for my liking, so that is something to address this year. So lots achieved, but you can see more about that in my previous film. Right, so let's start with this year, the biggie: find a job. Things are getting a bit desperate now, and there are lots of things that I want to do, but they're dependent on having an income. So if you know anybody who's looking for a fabulous project manager, then let me know. Money will run out, and soon. So whilst I've enjoyed having the time off, a big thing has been I've missed being around people. I like being around people. I like the type of work that I do, which is project management, because you're actually making a difference, whether it's within the organisation that you're working in or in the wider world. I've worked in the NHS, I've worked in central government roles, and so the work that you do has a bigger impact than just your team, and that gives me a big sense of satisfaction, knowing that out there people are using things which I've implemented, or are doing things that were down to ideas that I had. There was one project I worked on where I wanted to map locations, so I just created a simple map and then was given the software and a member of staff, and I went back to that organisation several years later to find it was still in use, and that was fantastic. So good project manager, I'm your gal. Happy to work anywhere in the UK, happy to contract, permanent, so let me know. That's my little spiel about me and work. Right, there are things which I didn't do last year which I'd like to do. Learn the ukulele. I've got one, it's in the living room, and I've had it ages, but I don't think I've even picked it up. I don't even know if it's tuned. So I'd like to learn the ukulele, or get rid of it. I'd also like to learn the guitar. Not that I have one, so if anybody's got one free in the area, let me know, because I would happily take it off your hands and have a play with it. Other things which I've got which I haven't used: I have a loom. Years ago I bought a loom with the intention of doing a bit of weaving. It's still in the bag that I bought it in 12 years ago. I remember having a nice trip down to Poole on the train and getting the little boat round, is it Brownsea Island in the harbour. It was great. Poole's a fantastic little place, but the loom has not been used. Likewise, I've got a folding bike which I bought for getting around where I used to live in London, in case there were issues with the buses during the Olympic Games. So again, you can tell how long I've had that, but I've not used it. So those are a couple of things which need to use or get rid of. I would like to this year travel in a little boat. Little boats have always scared me, and I've realised why. It's because I'm afraid of falling in, of losing my phone or my glasses falling off. But I've got a waterproof pouch now for my phone, and I bought one of these which would go on my glasses round the back of the head, so the glasses will actually not fall off. And so there was that element, and also being overweight. I was always worried about sinking the boat. I don't want to be the girl that, oh my god, the fat girl sank the boat. But now I've lost some weight, I feel a bit more confident. When we went to Scotland a couple of years ago, we parked up near Shiel Island, which to get to Shiel Island you have to cross over a bridge which crosses over the Atlantic, so it's the shortest. There is a bridge that crosses in Scotland over the Atlantic, but there's a little boat that goes to Shiel Island, and I was too much of a wimp and a scaredy cat to go on it. And I should have done. It would have been great to go over there and have a walk around. It's on this island that they have every year the World Stone Skimming Championships. Now I can't skim a stone to save my life, but it would have been good to go over there and have a look. So that was something I didn't do, which is one of those things. Lots of things that I regret from that trip that I didn't do because of not being healthy enough and fit enough. But they're addressed now. I would like to do an epic walk, but I'm going to talk about more of that later. Last year, as you may recall, I did a charity walk locally, which proved I could do it. So I'll talk about walking in a bit. I need to sort out my house and my living arrangements, but that's cash dependent, which is job dependent. So I'm kind of stuck there until I get a job. Likewise, I want to not learn to drive. I want to drive again. I came to driving late in life, primarily because I wanted to go to festivals. Living in London, there wasn't really a need to drive. There was plenty of public transport 24 hours a day. Excuse me. So I didn't need to, but I wanted to. If I wanted to go and see live music and camp in a field for a few days listening to great music. I had cheated a couple of times by staying in local B&Bs, but it wasn't quite the same. And so yes, that's why I learnt to drive. And my driving was good. I was able to drive to my festivals, drove to a couple of yarn events, and had a couple of 2 or 3 weekends away. It was great. The problem I had was that where I lived on the Isle of Dogs, you had to get off it, you had to go on the A13, and there were crazy drivers on the A13. So I was in a car club. I didn't own a car, there was no need to, because I was only using it occasionally, but I did have 2 crashes. First one, a van pulled in front of me, and if I hadn't gone into this vehicle, if I'd put my brakes on, then there would have been other cars going into the back of me, so I put my brakes on, and that bothered me. But I got back behind the wheel once everything was sorted. Drove to my festival. Then following year, a van went into the back of me, which I believe caused my atrial fibrillation to start, and I haven't driven since. And being up where I live now, it's where public transport isn't so good. It would be really beneficial for me to drive, and would give me more options regarding where I live in the future. But I don't just want to get behind the wheel of a car. I'd like to have 2 or 3 lessons, so that I feel safe, so that my first trips would be in a vehicle with dual control and somebody beside me, and that would just give me my confidence back. So I'd like to do that this year, but I need some money in the bank to do so. I would like to have better sleep. The house I live in, the neighbours can be quite noisy, so it's not easy to sleep in, and also I'm on a main road, so my sleep patterns aren't fantastic, but it's something I want to work on this year. Also, I'd like to get a cat. I didn't get a cat in London because my neighbour was allergic to them, and he came round to drink whiskey with me, so it wouldn't have been fair on him, and I'm quite a considerate person in that respect. So I'd like a cat. It'd be nice to have a cat to snuggle up to and to have on my lap, although I'm not sure how that's going to fare well with the knitting, but I would like that. But again, being on a main road, I don't think that would be fair on a cat to do that. So whilst I have a back garden, I would never feel entirely comfortable knowing that there's speeding vehicles around. Other things I want to do. I want to do more weights so that I can get rid of this. You can't see my flabbiness because they're hidden under my jumper, but I want to get rid of this. I want to reduce this, which is my belly. Whilst I lost a lot of weight last year, I need to tone it up. I need to get pumping some iron again. So I am on the lookout for an exercise bench, which I've been looking on Free Cycle and the free pages on Facebook, so that I can improve my strength and my core, which is something to work on, because I can almost fit in a size jeans which are smaller, but it's just my stomach which I need to reduce down. Which brings me on to measurables this year. If I can get into a pair of jeans which are smaller, that would be a big plus. The other thing that's a measurable on with regards to weight loss is this little ring, this little diamond ring, which I gave up on waiting for a man to buy me diamonds, so many years ago I bought my own, and it's on this finger, and when I had my angiogram, they couldn't take it off. It was solid on my finger. Whereas now, I don't know whether you can actually see it, but it will actually twist around quite easily, but not enough to take it off. And if I can get that removed this year, but not cutting off, if I can get that to come off this year, then that will be a big milestone that I can actually see. And I can say to people, look, we can do this now. What else do I want to do? I want to continue with my decluttering and the destashing of my yarn. I think I said last time how much I'd got rid of last year, and I'm still getting an odd few sales on Ravelry, so let's get rid of more of that. On the creative side, last year I did I painted a green man. I went to the flax mill, which is just up the road from me, and I painted this. Don't judge me, I'm not a painter, but I really enjoyed painting. I enjoyed creating texture, and I'd like to do a bit more painting this year. It felt like being a kid again in the art room, and sometimes we have to let our inner child out and do things like that. So I want to paint more. I want to say no more. I've realised I'm not very good at saying no to people. even when I really want to. And instead I turn up inside and get really upset, especially if I'd already got ideas in my head for something I wanted to do and it gets turned on its head. I don't want to upset people, but I'm happy to upset myself, so I have to say no more. So less compromise and less guilt, because I feel guilty about wanting my time, and my time's important to me. I shouldn't give it away so freely. So I'm gonna say no more, but equally I'm gonna say yes to new ideas and new things which I want to do, which I've not done before. So if somebody says to me, let's go and walk across this bridge, because I know that you don't like bridges, I'll say yeah, of course I will, because actually that will challenge me and demonstrate how far I've come, even if I do have to breathe for 10 minutes without having a panic attack. But I do want to be challenged and have new experiences. Come on, let's face it, a couple of years ago, well, 18 months ago, I nearly died. So if I can't embrace new experiences now, then I've got no blinking chance, have I? Singing. I want to sing more. I do sing a lot at my desk, and if I'm waiting for a bus, not a taxi, I will do my scales. My voice is a bit croaky, so I'm not going to do my scales on here for you, but I want to sing more. I miss my punk choir in London. I know there are choirs around here, but it's one of those things that unless you've got a car, you can't get to them because there's no buses in the evening, so you're stuck. And I quite liked my little edgy punk choir that we sang a cappella in, and it was great. Used to meet in this little church in Bethnal Green, and it was fun. It was really fun. And our choir uniform was red and black, so that suited me, obviously. And it was great. It really was fun. So I want to sing more. I'd actually like to have the confidence to do an open mic in a pub or something, but I'm still a bit scared singing solo. Although I have sung a couple of times on here in the background, which you may or may not have noticed. So I want to do that. I want to go to a festival again because I want live music. I didn't see any live music last year, and I do miss it. But again, that's down to funds and lack of cash. I want to do more sewing. I have a sewing machine. In fact, I have a big one and a little one, but I don't use them because I'm not confident in my sewing. So I did buy a very cheap pattern. When I say cheap, I mean 50p pattern, with a view to choosing a piece of fabric and making a dress, which is going to be a challenge. And if I can do that, then it won't have cost me very much, even if I make a big mistake. So that's something I'd like to do. Get confidence in my sewing abilities. During lockdown, I did make face masks, including some really funky ones that I used glow-in-the-dark paint on them, which were good. I actually sold some of those to a friend, which was good. Less crafting supplies without purpose. It's all very well having a big crafting room and being able to dip in, but I really don't need anything else unless it is for a specific purpose, and I know I don't have it. Oh, my voice is going, and I don't have any water here. More travelling. Scotland 2 years ago was brilliant, but I'd like to go to Italy. I have family over there, and I have been doing my Duolingo every day for almost a year now, and I enjoy it. So I'd like to go over to Italy. I'd like to go swimming in the sea. I'd like to have sand between my toes, but again, I'm sorry if I'm going to sound like a broken record here, it's cash dependent, which is job dependent, because I've got to replenish that pot of money. Dating, not top of my list, but it would be nice to get out there again. I did have a few dates last year, and that helped me get my confidence back. I think having gained weight and with my mobility issues over, well, pre-heart attack, I wasn't confident on the dating side, but that's there now. I quite enjoy spending time alone. I don't know if I want somebody in my life full time. Does that sound selfish? Maybe. But it's my time. As I said, my time is precious to me, and I shouldn't underestimate how important solo time is. My ideal setup would be to date somebody and live close-ish but not too close. Or I think it was Helena Bonham Carter when she was with Tim Burton. They had adjoining houses, so they had their own space but then communal areas for raising the kids. Maybe wrong. I would like to take less tablets. I've already reduced the number of tablets which I started off last year with, and look at a more holistic way of dealing with my thyroid issues and keeping my heart healthy, which I think I have been doing from the heart side, because I am in a better position generally with my health, but there are things like atrial fibrillation which isn't going to go away. Likewise, my underactive thyroid isn't going to go away. But if I can look at what's going in my body, then I can address those issues. There will be an episode coming up in the next couple of months or so that talks about food and weight gain and how I gained weight during lockdown and why I gained weight during lockdown, even though I wasn't actually eating a huge amount of food. But anyway, that's another episode. I do want to cook more out of cookbooks, and I've got a big pile of books upstairs that need to go, which are foods that I'm never going to cook, like lots of cake books. Friends bought me cake recipe books which I'm not going to use. There are certain books which I will keep, like my Nigella Lawson's, because I think Nigella is a goddess, and in fact I have a couple of her books which are signed, which I'm quite pleased to have. I want to do more batch cooking this year, especially in preparation for starting work, but I do need a bigger freezer for that because my freezer is full. I would like to do some online courses, both in terms of development for my work in project management, but also personal development. I achieved a lot last year in terms of filmmaking. Gosh, I was scared the first time I sat in front of this camera talking to you lot, and I didn't take my GoPro out, whereas it's always in my handbag now. And I do want to focus on doing some filmmaking, but I've got to get a proper job first so I can do this kind of stuff in the evenings. So I carry my GoPro with me at all times. I do need to carry less in my handbag. I do tend to carry the kitchen sink. I remember a first date a few years ago. I met up with him on the South Bank, and I went to the loo and came out of the loo and he'd vanished with my handbag. He was actually just looking at the river, but his comment to me was, "What have you got in here, an axe?" Not quite an axe, but it was heavy. I don't tend to go out anywhere without at least 2 knitting projects, just in case I suddenly get bored, which is really unlikely to happen, but you never know. Or anything happens, at least I've got my knitting with me, and emergency toiletries. so I never carry light, and I need to carry light because it's not helping my back. She says, leaning backwards. Sitting at this desk for a long time last year has not helped my posture, so I do need to address my back issues and my posture, especially on my shoulders. So that is a biggie, because I do have to take painkillers for it. And you go to the doctors and all the doctors say is lose weight. Well, I lost weight years ago and I still had back pain. But this comes down to, again, looking at the holistic way to deal with things. So if I can start sitting in a more upright position rather than leaning over my laptop, that would be fantastic. I would like to get more followers on here. Thank you to everybody that's stuck out so far. But every YouTuber wants more followers. It's one of those things. YouTube has been great for me in giving me an outlet to discuss the things that have gone on in my life, and especially last year when I've had so much to say about my heart journey, which is almost coming to an end. We're almost at the end of that series. So I want to say thank you for sticking with me. There will be changes soon. So watch this space as to where the channel goes. One of the things I love is film, and not just filming now, but watching films. But I didn't go to the cinema for a very long time because I had a habit of falling asleep. The film Groundhog Day, if you don't know it, summarise, the guy wakes up every morning and has the same day over and over and over again. I went to that film 5 times before I saw it all the way through because I fell asleep. In fact, if I put that film on now, I still fall asleep. I don't know what it is about it, and it's not because I don't love the film. I thought Bill Murray is great, Punxsutawney Phil is great, and Annie McDowell, everybody wanted to be Andy McDowell, she was just so pretty. But I fell asleep a lot during it. But I like films. I'm getting better at not falling asleep now. So I'd like to do film reviews, just little ones about why I've liked to film or why I haven't. Equally, I love reading. Last year I read 16 books, which was 15 more than the previous year. So I have a voice. I feel confident that I have an opinion, and for years I didn't think I did. And I do want to start talking about those things. Equally, I'm a bit of a binge TV watcher. If there's one of these American shows like Game of Thrones or House of Dragons or whatever, I will set the alarm for 1:45 in the morning to watch it at 2 o'clock when the rest of the world is, to avoid spoilers the next day. And I'm a geek in that respect. There are so many things coming up this year which I can't wait to see, like The Last of Us. Over Christmas I binged Silo, 2 seasons, so I have lots to say on TV and things like that. I want to use my cameras more. I've got a really nice Olympus camera which I'd like to go out and start taking pictures that aren't just on my phone. Again, that's something else to carry, but I do feel that I want to do more things with that. Likewise, I've got a drone. Actually, it was Jules's first drone, which was called Otto. Yeah, sorry, the name just makes me smile because of why he was given the name, but it just needs a little bit of fixing, and I'm really good at that. So if anybody in the area watches this and knows anybody that's good with cameras and drones, it would be great if you want to have a look at it. Let me know, because I do want to get up there and fly and soar with it. I what else do I want to do? I want to do more writing. I did a lot of writing last year. In my work life, I do a lot of corporate writing, whether it's policies, business plans, bids, playbooks, and so it's been great to do creative stuff. I wrote a film a couple of years ago about Tolkien, which was fantastic. I'm still really proud of that. I've got other scripts on the go, including a big film project that's been on the back burner for some time. Still lots of research to do on it, but it's going to be a piece of work that requires a lot of collaboration with others, which is going to be great, because that's one of the downsides to being in these four walls, is that you're not collaborating with people, you're not bouncing ideas off each other, and it's good to do that with people. There is a film that will be coming out this year, which I am taking on the task of helping to market it. So I will be going to film festivals and doing a bit of networking, and that's going to be something I'm looking forward to doing. The film, I think I've touched on it briefly in the past, is about the shipping forecast, which is something that really does excite me. Although I haven't been earning, one of my Christmas treats to myself, which came out of D-Stash funds, was a quiz book on the shipping forecast, and that it's fun to look at, and I'm pleased that I get some of the questions right when I kind of just test myself every few days. So those are things which I'm looking forward to doing. One of the things I'm bad at is relaxing. I think with not having paid work where your day is pretty structured, I have been trying to get outputs every day and say, right, today I've achieved X, Y and Z, and often that has meant sitting out here, particularly when the evenings are lighter, till 8 or 9 at night, creating or watching things and not actually switching off. So I do need to allow myself time to say, no, I am just going to sit on the sofa and I'm going to have a few hours just for me, or I am going to stay in bed late and get a book, and give myself time like that. I think that's going to be so important when I start working again, that I don't be a slave to my Fitbit and doing those steps in every day, because those steps will come naturally if I'm working in an office. Excuse the bells, that's just my little reminder of what time it is. I used to live next to a house by a church. I used to live in a house next to a church, get my words right, and I used to enjoy listening to the bells on the hour, except I have this turned off during the night so it doesn't disturb my sleep. Sleep, yes. So I'm bad at relaxing and find it hard to switch off, which again doesn't help the sleep pattern. This year I want to go out, you know what I mean. I don't just want to go to the pub. I want to dress up in one of my nice dresses and look glamorous and lovely, and I don't do that. I have an indoor wardrobe and an outdoor wardrobe, and then I have a fancy wardrobe, and I don't wear my fancy stuff anymore, and I miss it. I want to go out and I want to go dancing, and now that my mobility is better, I want to go out there and dance and go to comedy clubs and do more. But again, broken record, money is an issue. I said earlier that I wanted to talk about something epic. This is the sad little bit of the film. Well, saddish, but also positive. I'll tell you a little bit about my past. As a child, I had 2 older brothers and a mum and a dad. I came into the family late. My parents are nearly 40, and there were 2 older brothers, 16 years and 18 years older than me. And both of my brothers died at the same age that I am now. So it's a bit of a milestone. I'll show you this little picture. There are very few pictures of the 5 of us together. I think because Mum was always the one that took photographs. That there are very few of them. So this picture here, which I'm going to show you, was taken a long time ago. I'm being cagey about my age for some reason. But there's my dad and my mum and my 2 brothers and a family friend. My mum's a blonde one, very pretty blonde lady, and that little one that looks like she's wearing something on her head, I don't know what's on my head, is me. That was taken in Venice a very long time ago, but that's the only picture I can find of the 5 of us. So a milestone, because I want to hit my next age. I want my next birthday, which is something that an age that they never got to, and I would like to do that to honour them and my parents, because my parents died. My dad was 49, my mum was 52, so I've already passed them. And I want to break the chain. I want to live a long life, especially after what happened with the heart attack, and which is why I've been doing all the things I've been doing to get myself healthier. Still could do better, but I'm still here. To quote Sondheim again. There are things which I have got penciled in which I'd like to do. It would be nice to go to Cumidwell again. This was a walk I did last year, but I didn't have my camera then. I didn't even think about recording it, because I didn't think I was doing the walk. I thought I was just going up to the lake and back. But Jules had other ideas, and we walked around, and then we were going to walk back. But I walked all the way around, so I'd really like to do that again with my camera. I'm still no good with climbing over boulders, and I know that because I've only got little legs. Yeah, so boulders aren't a great thing, so climbing up all the way would be a struggle. But I definitely want to do Cumidwell again. And another thing I would like to do would be to walk to the source of the Severn. This is up in Havern Forest, which is outside Llanidloes in mid Wales, and again, there's some history with me in the River Severn. When I was 13, we moved to Newtown in Powys, and we had a little shop that was right almost on the banks of the Severn. So I spent a lot of time sitting by the river, or paddling in the river, or swimming in it. I remember the night that my mum died. I was with her, holding her hand. I took my goat, Bobby. Yes, I had a pet goat. Some girls get given Easter eggs at Easter. I got given a goat. Not even a bunny rabbit, a goat. But the night she died, whilst the nurse was getting my mum's body ready for the undertakers to come and the doctor, I took him down to the river, and I remember putting my head my face in his phone, just crying because I'd lost my beautiful mum. So the River Severn was important to me then. Years later, I lived in Worcester and would spend Sundays sitting on the banks of the River Severn, listening to the cricket or the bands in Cripplegate Park. And now, living in Shrewsbury, I am again close to the River Severn. It would be good to go and film up there, and then maybe even go down to Bristol to see it leaving, you know, entering Lundy and the Bristol Channel. Again, I've gone back to shipping forecast speak and mentioning the shipping areas. But that would be something I like to. I can't do the whole walk. I'm not saying I'm going to walk from the source of the Severn down to Bristol, because that's a no-no. But filming bits of the Severn and walking bits of the Severn would be good. I mean, I did a little bit of the Severn last year when I did my Bridges walk in Shrewsbury. But that would be good. That would be a level of fitness, and doing something as my little pilgrimage. It'd be good to do a bigger pilgrimage. One of the things that I've discussed is doing the Glyndŵr Way, which I'm not sure how many miles it is, but I'd have to see how I could break it down, or even just do it in parts over the course of a year. So there's lots to do, but they'd all be manageable even with a full-time job, because I need to have a work-life balance. I think the problem that I've had in the past with work is that I've worked, and then spent my weekends shopping because there was something lacking in my life, and there isn't anything lacking in my life now. I don't need possessions. I want to get out there and do things. That's what's lacking in my life, which is why I would like to really downsize where I am, downsize my possessions, which will in turn make me a happier person, I believe. I know I can do it, but I've got to find the job. I've got to find that job. You know, there's nothing that's going to hold me back. I'm ready, I'm able, and I am woman. Hear me roar. Like Samwise Gamgee's, I'm going to find a spot to throw a handful of dust in the air in the hope that something beautiful happens. If you get the reference, kudos to you. Obviously, I'm not going to blow dust up in the air at my desk, because that's just going to leave a mess, but I hope that something beautiful happens this year.
So what are your goals then for 2025? It'd be great to know. Let me know in the comment box. If you like what I'm doing, then it would be great if you could like, comment, subscribe, and share with anyone you think may find this interesting. Also, if you ring the bell, you'll get notifications when I upload my next video.